Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Mac Story.
Hello, and thanks for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. Today's episode is titled Leading Through the Blue Collar Labor Shortage in 2026, Practical Strategies That Work. So here's the truth most are missing when it comes to the labor shortage. While your industry has a labor shortage, your organization is actually operating in an environment filled with an abundance of available talent. I'm going to tell you, that right there is something you hardly hear anybody out there saying in the industry. So if you don't agree with that, I hope you keep listening because you need to hear this episode. Because if you don't agree with what I just said, this episode's meant for you. And I'm pretty sure by the time you make your way through it, you'll have a new understanding. Maybe you'll have a mindset shift. And maybe if you're struggling to attract and retain labor, top talent especially, you'll have some answers to help you go do that. But I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit with you right now to start shifting your thoughts. Because my whole reason for making this podcast is to provoke thought and raise awareness. So everyone working for your competitors, every experienced trade person in your area, and every new graduate from high schools and trade schools, along with those exiting the military, are potentially available to join your team. Pretty much what I just said, it's everybody out there is available to join your team, except for those people already on your team. Now, I 100% believe there's a industry-wide labor shortage in construction, manufacturing, most of the blue-collar industries, pretty much all of them. There's a labor shortage across the industry. But I can guarantee you, you're not hiring for the industry. So quit talking about it like that. Quit thinking about it like that. You're hiring for one organization, your organization, which means everybody outside of your organization is available. That's not a shortage. That's an abundance. So the real question for people who are struggling to find labor shouldn't be how do we find people and then make an excuse because of the labor shortage, because that ain't the truth. The real question is why aren't they choosing us? Meaning that abundance of people out there. Why aren't they choosing us? All those people that work for our competitors, they're already in your industry. They're just not in your organization. Why? So I'm going to talk to you about that stuff. I hope you stick with me. I hope you think, well, this kind of makes a little bit of sense. It's different than I've been thinking about it, but makes a lot of sense. And I'm telling you, it's common sense. That's all I got, common sense. And anybody with common sense can hang with me through this lesson and understand exactly what I'm talking about. Then they can go do something about it if they want to, or they can keep making excuses. That usually ain't the folks listening to me, though. So in this latest podcast, I'm going to share 5 practical leadership strategies to help you fix your culture or enhance your culture or transform your culture, depending on how you view it, help you attract top talent, help you reduce turnover, and build a true competitive advantage, even in a tight labor market. So if you're tired of hearing the same old excuses and you're ready for some real solutions, keep listening. Share this with the people, anybody in your company, especially leaders in your company. You got any family members working in the blue-collar industries? Anybody you hear moaning and groaning about a labor shortage, you need to share this with them because they working on a problem that they ain't got. Because there ain't nobody out there hiring for the entire industry. Now, there's certain groups of people, maybe government, maybe associations, maybe all kind of groups who are not hiring somebody to work in their industry, but they are trying to help the industry as a whole. They need to worry about the industry as a whole. But if you're just working in an organization, you're the owner, you're the CEO, you're a top manager inside of a business, you have an abundance of labor. You got to ask, why don't they want to work in your organization? You figure out the answer to that and do the work to improve it, you're not going to have a problem. Your competitors might, but you won't. So let's talk about leading through the blue-collar labor shortage in 2026. Practical strategies that work. So I want to share a quote with you today that comes from the Associated Builders and Contractors. It's a national construction industry trade association that was established in 1950. They have 67 chapters and 24,000 members around the world. And I want to share with you a quote that I got from them. And this episode that I'm sharing with you now, back on June 1st, I actually released a newsletter on my LinkedIn page. So if you want to see a written copy of this, won't have everything I'm sharing here, but it'll have all the meat that I'm sharing is in that newsletter, and I'm sharing adding a little bit of extra with it while I'm sharing it with you. But if you want to see that, just go back and look a couple of months back for that newsletter. Same title as this one, Leading Through the Blue Collar Labor Shortage in 2026, and you'll find it there. But the quote from the research from ABC that I was talking about, it says this right here: the construction industry needs to attract an estimated 349,000 net new workers in 2026 to meet demand for construction services, according to a proprietary model developed and released by Associated Builders and Contractors. In 2027, the industry will need to bring in 456,000 new workers to meet demand, as construction spending growth is poised to resume for the first time in years. So that's based on some research they've done. And probably if you didn't know it, my background's manufacturing, but the biggest segment of our business is actually the construction industry, all different types of construction. We speak all over the country. And we speak to a lot of other folks too, but the largest segment is construction. And actually, as I record this episode, Rhea and I are getting ready to head out to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to speak for the 9th time in just over the past year for Kirby Inland Marine. We'll be speaking to a lot of captains and crew of towboats. They move the barges up and down the rivers and along the coast. And then we actually driving over there, and then we're driving from there up to close to Chicago, Illinois, Joliet, Illinois. And we're going to be speaking to a industrial construction company up there. We're really excited about that. We're going to speak 4 hours for them on a Saturday, and then we're going to speak 6 hours for them on the next Monday. They got a lot of our books they're going to pass out to their team, and they got a lot of access to our Blue Collar Leadership Academy online video courses. So I'm really excited to go up and speak to that group. And then we come home for a couple of days, and then we fly out to Los Angeles. We'll be speaking to about 300 and something tradespeople at all different levels, mainly upper leadership levels of plumbing, HVAC, all different types of blue collar construction organizations out there. So that's just a little snippet of what we got going on at the moment. Let's get back into this episode. So the labor shortage is real across all blue collar industries. I ain't denying that. So don't go jumping on me about that. I'm with you on that. But the key words are across all blue collar industries, there's a labor shortage. Again, that's industry wide. So I've been traveling throughout the U.S., conducting on-site training and speaking at organizations and conferences for a wide variety of blue collar industries for nearly 20 years. And I get to speak with a lot of leaders at various levels, top to bottom, a lot of the top. And there's no doubt the labor shortage is being felt across all blue collar industries. My wife, Rhea, and I hear about it everywhere we go. And if you're an HR manager, a plant manager, a director, a VP, president, or business owner dealing with open positions and increased turnover, you're not alone. There's a lot of you out there. I hear from you. I meet you. Unfortunately, that seems to be the norm these days. And I want to share with you a quote right here from Oliver Wendell Holmes. He says, "Our mind, once stretched by a new idea, never regains its original dimensions." And that's what I want to do with this whole episode. Is I want to stretch your mind with a new idea. You're already picking up on what it is. So there is a labor shortage, But what does that have to do with you? I want to help you reframe the way you see and think about the labor shortage issue. I want to help you align your thinking with the truth, not the illusion that most are aligned with. Nearly every leader in every organization is framing the labor shortage wrong. And if you think you're experiencing a labor shortage, you're framing it wrong. And I hope you stick with me, because I want to provoke thought, raise awareness, and stretch your minds so that you can stop having that problem you got, which is labor. Let somebody else have it. You don't have to have that problem. But you got to align your thinking with the truth before you even got a chance of getting away from that problem. So why is nearly every leader in every organization framing the labor shortage wrong? Why? I'm going to tell you why. Because it's easy. These leaders seem to think if the industry has a labor shortage, that explains why they can't find people to fill open positions. In other words, gives them an excuse. But what if that's not the reason? Wouldn't you want to know if you were one of those leaders? Especially if you were the top leader and your organization's struggling because you don't have enough labor, you can't find labor, you can't keep labor. Even if you find it, you can't keep it. And then on top of that, maybe you can't attract and retain top labor, top talent. So I'm going to say it again. Your industry is suffering from an industry-wide labor shortage. I'm not saying it ain't. I'm saying it is. But lucky for you, you're not hiring for the entire industry. No one is. You're only looking to fill positions in one organization, yours. I've said that a couple of times, but it needs to be said a couple of times because everybody out there is just making this same excuse. And most of the people they know agree with them. Don't miss what I simply and clearly just revealed to you. This means everyone outside of your organization, within your industry, locally and beyond, is available to work in your organization. That's a fact. They're available if they want to. And many of them are already trained with years of experience in your industry. And they're working in your town. Remember, they're at your competition. They're at your competitors. They're already out there. Suddenly, when you see it the way that it really is, your challenge of filling open positions isn't due to a labor shortage. There's obviously an abundance of labor to fill your open positions. Everyone working for your competitors is available. Everyone with or without a job searching for work in your industry is available. Everyone entering your industry out of high school, trade school, and the military, as I stated earlier, is available. Share a quote with you from Charles G. Koch. He says, "Innovation begins with a passionate preoccupation with a problem and the courage to pursue a solution." That's what we're talking about today. So are you asking the right question? Now that you're starting to think in alignment with reality, you need to move away from asking the misinformed question. How do we find people when there's a labor shortage? The answer to that question leads to an excuse. Guess what? You need a solution. So quit asking that question. When you understand you're operating your business in an environment filled with an abundance of labor, you'll want to ask yourself several key questions. Not the one I just talked about, other questions. Here we go. Why don't people outside of my organization want to join my team? The answer will lead to a solution. What's stopping me and my team, my organization, from attracting top talent from other organizations? The answer will lead to a solution. Why is our turnover so high? People are leaving us to work somewhere else. The answer will lead to a solution. What needs to change inside our organization that will cause our team to spread positive word of mouth advertising about our organization? The answer will lead to a solution. Many leaders are experiencing the same problem, filling open positions. However, a few high impact leaders are focused on the solution and are addressing the root cause of their problems, their organizational culture. See, that's the problem. Don't miss it. That's the problem. If you're struggling to find labor, it ain't because there's a labor shortage. We've already covered that. It's related to your organizational culture. Leaders who can't find people to fill open positions aren't experiencing a labor shortage. Hold on now, don't get offended when I say this next line. They're experiencing a leadership shortage. That's some leadership truth. Remember, leadership truth's kind of like a surgeon's scalpel. It might hurt, it might sting, but it's meant to help. I'm going to read that to you again. And I'm reading some of this stuff I'm sharing with you from the newsletter that I wrote back in June. That's why I'm saying I'm going to read it to you again. Leaders who can't find people to fill open positions aren't experiencing a labor shortage. They're experiencing a leadership shortage. That's powerful. There's so much freedom in that statement right there if you buy into it. Because instead of hunting for labor that's out there that don't want to work in your organization, you start focusing on what can I do to grow and develop the leaders in my organization so that we can attract and retain top talent. That's something you could jump on today. You can start making it happen today. And you're going to actually get to the root cause of the problem you have. Your organization has a leadership shortage. Doesn't mean bad people in there. It means they need to be trained and developed to be better leaders. Stop making excuses about why they can't attract people, why they can't find people. The leaders in the organization aren't capable of attracting and retaining top talent. That's just the truth. If you're struggling to find labor, you already know what I just told you. Don't be offended by it. Open your mind, think about it, look in the mirror and figure it out. What do we need to do about it? And I'm going to tell you this, in order to compete for top talent, those kind of leaders that aren't capable of attracting and retaining top talent, they must be improved or removed. That's what the top leaders got to know. And if the top leader don't know all this, the top leader needs some leadership development. Hopefully you're one of them. Hopefully you decide to take action. Reach out to me. I'll help you. I want to share a quote with you now from Stephen M.R. Covey. He's the author of The Speed of Trust. My third favorite book of all time. After reading every day for 18 years, that book's number 3 on my list. That's probably where this quote comes from. I got it out of my quote file. What differentiates the best from the good companies is not whether they ask the questions, it's how they respond to the answers. Remember those set of questions I gave you earlier? Asking the question ain't going to get you there. It's your response to the question that's going to get you there, potentially, if it's in line with reality. So here we go. I want to share the 5 practical leadership strategies to attract and retain top talent. Number 1, fix culture to reduce turnover and attract top talent. I've kind of been touching on it already. Your culture is either a competitive advantage or a competitive disadvantage. Which one is it? If you're already attracting and retaining top talent and easily filling open positions with high quality people, your culture is absolutely a competitive advantage. You're winning the labor war. If you're not consistently attracting and retaining top talent and struggle to fill open positions, your culture is absolutely a competitive disadvantage. You're losing the labor war. Number 2, hire for character first, competency second. And I hear so many leaders moan, groan, whine about how and why they can't do this. What they don't know is I know a lot of leaders in the same industry who do this, and they do it well. So anybody saying they can't do it, they're making excuses. And they may believe it. The problem is they don't know what they don't know, and they ain't willing to go develop themselves and find out the truth. And that's what I'm here for, to help people find out the truth and align themselves with the truth so they can build a phenomenal team, have a lot less frustration and stress, and live a better life at home and at work. Let's talk about that, though, hiring for character first and competency second. If you're losing the labor war and struggling to fill positions, you can't be very picky when deciding who you will or won't hire. Character matters because character will either maximize or minimize a person's competency and an organization's reputation. That's common sense, what I just told you. You already know it. Hit rewind, listen to it again. Might be the first time you heard it, but you already know it because it's common sense. Culture is simply the collective character of all of those working within an organization. If you hire for character, you'll have a competitive advantage. If you don't, you won't. Character counts a lot. Number 3, develop better frontline leaders. For decades, research has repeatedly revealed the number one reason people leave a job is their relationship with their boss. It's not the only reason, but it has consistently been the top reason. The other reasons may or may not be linked directly to their boss, but most reasons can be linked back to leadership at some level. If you look for the root cause of every reason a person's leaving, you can trace that root cause back to a leadership deficiency someplace at some level. Are you hoping your frontline leaders learn to lead better, or helping them learn to lead better? Guess which method provides a competitive advantage? I'll give you a hint. Hope is not a strategy. Number 4, build an internal promotion pipeline. The people on the inside and outside of your organization know there is a high value placed on development at every level with the intent of promoting from within. That's exactly what the military does. You can do it too. If you're the top leader, you definitely can do it because it's up to you. How would those working on the front lines in your organization answer if I walked up and asked them today? What I just said. The people on the inside and outside of your organization know there's a high value placed on development at every level with the intent of promoting from within. If I ask the people in the front lines of your company, what would they say to that question? Do they know that's true? Do they know it's not true? Do they not know at all? And again, think of the military. It's obvious before you enlist in the military, that's how it works. You know why? Because that's how it works. How would your organization compare? Promotion from within appeals, check this out, to growth-oriented people. Growth-oriented people are a huge asset. You want to attract and retain growth-oriented people, which means you got to be developing the people who are already in your organizations so that they can understand and see that you are a growth-oriented organization. Common sense again, but it ain't common practice. And these 5 things I'm sharing with you, there's a lot that goes into creating the foundation that support all this. It's leadership development. Number 5, compete on more than pay. Growth-oriented people want more than great pay because they're on a mission and desire more out of life than a decent wage. They're hungry to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Do you provide development beyond what's required to do the job? Most companies don't. And guess what? They can't find people, much less good people, much less top talent. Are they in the right role, meaning these growth-oriented people? Those who aren't passionate about what they're doing can't compete with those who are. Do you involve them in the decision-making process? They want to contribute. And that's what I'm talking about. Compete more on more than pay. Provide development and growth opportunities. Help them get in the right role. So they'll be fired up to be there and want to kill it on the job every day. Ask them questions. Involve them in the decision-making process. I want to share a quote with you from Jack Welch. He says, I think any company has got to find a way to engage the mind of every single employee. If you're not thinking all the time about making every person more valuable, you don't have a chance. What's the alternative? Wasted minds, uninvolved people, a labor force that's angry and bored. And that doesn't make sense. Pretty good quote from old Jack. So let me tell you this, what's easy to do is also easy not to do. Creating the kind of organizational culture that attracts and retains high-impact, value-driven people is easy if you value doing what it takes. If you don't, it's easy not to do. Most people ain't doing it because it's easy not to do. It's actually impossible because you'll never do it if you don't value it. And you will never attract the type of leaders that can and will help you transform your culture. To become highly effective at competing with those who want to steal your people. So you got to remember, if you ain't doing this and somebody else is, you're in trouble. But to become highly effective at competing with those who want to steal your people, you must become an employer of choice. Otherwise, you'll find yourself on the losing end of the labor war. You may already be there, especially relative to attracting and retaining great people. The result, endless frustration and stress. Over and over and over, the same problems, same issues, round and around you go. Becoming an employer of choice means leaders intentionally create an environment where these things can happen. I'm about to give you a list. 6 things. You create an environment where this can happen. First one, team members currently working in the organization have a very strong desire to continue working there because they're excited about their future within the organization. The next one, team members feel valued by their leaders and their team. That was number 2. Number 3, team members have meaningful relationships with their coworkers. Number 4, team members have frequent growth and development opportunities. Number 5, team members are consistently challenged to get better in positive ways. And number 6, team members feel good while on the job. And equally as important, they feel good about themselves and their leaders at the end of each day. Now, that's a lot of stuff. Those 6 things I just shared with you, you got to create an environment where that's the case. And you ain't nowhere near that today. You got a big gap to close. I'm more than happy to help you close it. There's a lot of other people. If you don't like me, go find somebody else. But you got to do it. And if you think that sounds like a challenge, it means you got a lot to learn. That means your people have a lot to learn. That means you got a tremendous amount of room for improvement because you're operating right now on a lack of knowledge relative to leading and developing people, leading and developing yourself, transforming the culture. Most organizations and most industries are filled with leaders who don't have what it takes to create that type of organization. That's why these organizations struggle. That's why these leaders within them tend to agree with the following lie, and it's a lie. The labor shortage is the root cause of all of their talent acquisition problems. That's a lie. We done talked about it. If you ain't figured that out yet, you need to hit the rewind button, go all the way to the front, and start over again. Because you're not hiring for the entire industry. You're hiring for one organization. That means there's millions of people out there that are available. There's an abundance of labor and talent for your organization if they want to work there. But any of those organizations are in the perfect position to create a competitive advantage by simply transforming their culture and choosing not to operate like their competition. Imagine if one organization among a group of competitors chose to go down the path of cultural transformation by adopting the 5 strategies that I've talked about above previously, right? Would they be more likely? Remember those 5 things I shared with you? Let me go back. I'm going to just read them out. I ain't going to give you the description. Fix culture to reduce turnover and attract top talent. Number 1. Number 2, hire for character first. Competency second. Number 3, develop better frontline leaders. Number 4, build an internal promotion pipeline. Number 5, compete on more than pay. So think about that. Any of the organizations are in a perfect position to create a competitive advantage by simply transforming their culture and choosing not to operate like their competition. And then again, that list I just gave you. Imagine if one organization among a group of competitors chose to go down the path of cultural transformation by adopting those 5 strategies, not just reading them, not just listening to them on a podcast, actually adopting them and learning what does it take to become that kind of organization, so that we're doing that. Would an organization, one out of a group of competitors, would they be more likely to attract top talent from their competitors in other industries? Absolutely. Would they be more likely to retain the talented people they already have? Absolutely. Would the people already working there be more or less likely to spread positive word of mouth advertisement about the company and its leaders? Absolutely, they would be more likely to spread positive word of mouth advertisement. Would they be more or less likely to remove toxic team members who are driving their best people away? Meaning those companies who have adopted those 5 strategies. Absolutely, they would be more likely to remove toxic team members. And would they develop a significant competitive advantage in their industry and their area of operations? Absolutely, they would. So what if your leadership challenges like excessive turnover, disengagement, and toxic culture could be fixed for good? That's a good question. I'm going to ask you another question. The most important question of all to wrap up this episode. What's stopping you from making it happen? You want to make it happen? You call 334-728-4143. That's my phone number. That's my cell phone, the one I talk to my wife on. You call me, most often I can return your call within an hour. Within 24 hours. If you want to schedule a call, make sure I'm available and you available at the same time, go to bluecollarleadership.com. Look for the schedule a call button. Click or tap on that button. You'll be able to see my calendar, and you just set it up, put your phone number in there, and I'll call you at that time. That way you're available and I'm available. We ain't got to be playing phone tag. I want to read you a quote from Socrates here at the end of this podcast. He says, employ your time in improving yourself by other men's writings, so that you shall come easily by what others have labored hard for. In other words, learn from other people who've went through a lot of the stuff that you've been through, or seen a lot of the stuff that you've been through and lived through it and experienced it and led others through it, led themselves and their teams. And in my case, I consulted for a long time and helped a lot of other people do this. Still doing it relative to leadership. Used to do it relative to lean and process improvement. So I'm going to tell you about 10 resources. I'm going to wrap up this episode telling you about 10 resources for leaders with a desire to lead at a higher level. I hope that's you. Doesn't matter what level you're at. These resources will benefit you. And it doesn't even matter if you're a formal authority leader. If you want to get better, or definitely if you want to aspire to be a leader, especially in a great company worth joining, you got to develop yourself, because they only looking for top talent. So one thing you can do, go to bluecollarleadership.com, because that's my website. That's where I'm helping leaders engage the front line to improve the bottom line. And check out the special offer on that page for on-site training and speaking support. I'll come to you. Number 2, Blue Collar Leadership White Paper. It's an easy 4-page read, and you'll discover the 3 dilemmas that most organizations face. So just go to bluecollarleadership.com/download and look for the Blue Collar Leadership White Paper. I have a book for leaders who are really want to tackle what I'm talking about in today's podcast, it was written for the intended audience of being a top leader. Blue collar leadership and culture, the 5 components for building high performance teams. Discover what separates the best from the rest. Go to bluecollarleadership.com/culture. Change happens. Leading yourself and others through change. That's self-explanatory. That's a book that my wife Rhea and I wrote together. You go to bluecollarleadership.com/download, and you can preview the first 5 chapters of that book and a lot of other books. You just have to look for that thumbnail that's got that Change Happens title on it. All these books I'm telling you about right now, you can go to that download page and preview the first 5 chapters from these books. Another book, Blue Collar Leadership, Leading from the Front Lines. This one is filled with content. It's unique development for the entry-level, frontline, blue-collar workforce. Not the boss, the ones doing the work. It takes a leader to get interested in this content, to want to develop the people using this content. So go check that out. You can go to bluecollarleadership.com/workers and learn more about that resource. Another book, Blue Collar Leadership and Teamwork, 30 Traits of High Impact Players. Who we are is who we attract. This book is how do you lead yourself well in a way that causes you to be seen as a high impact team player. The kind people want on their team, the kind people want to promote, the kind other people want to steal away. Go to bluecollarleadership.com/teamwork. Here's one for the leaders, formal authority leaders, supervisors, foremen, superintendents, whoever's got somebody reporting to them, someone in a leadership position. It's Blue Collar Leadership and Supervision. Unleash your team's potential. Employee engagement starts with engaged leadership. That means not leaders engaged in managing people, leaders engaged in leading people. Go to bluecollarleadership.com/leaders to learn more about that resource. And then we have all those books I just told you about. We have 7.5-hour online video courses for each one of those books. To learn more about that, you go to bluecollarleadershipacademy.com. That's affordable online training to build high impact teams. There's pricing in there for individuals, and then there's pricing in there for groups like organizations where maybe the leader wants to pay for everybody to get enrolled, or 50 people to be enrolled, or 20 or whatever. We got some ridiculously low pricing for the groups for sure. You'll be blown away at the low cost of that. And then you can explore low and no cost solutions, do-it-yourself development solutions. We got lots of those for you. Go to bluecollarleadership.com/implement. And you can look through all the stuff there. Some of it's no cost. Like this podcast, it ain't costing you nothing. This is episode 505. That means there's 504 before this one. They're all free. Well, I told you about the download page earlier. There's hundreds of pages from all of our books in there that you can read for free. You don't even buy the books. And you don't have to put in a email or subscribe. I ain't putting you in no email list. I ain't creating no sales funnel. I ain't going to spam you. You just go in there and look at the stuff. If you like it, buy the whole book. If you don't, read all the free stuff and move on. So you can preview those books, and there's a link to preview my wife's book on that same page, bluecollarleadership.com/download. You can read excerpts from personal growth, leadership development books, personal transformation, change, teamwork, communication, all kind of stuff. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you reach out, give me a call, follow me on LinkedIn. I've got tons of newsletters. Again, that's another free resource. Tons of newsletters and articles, hundreds of them. I put out content pretty much every day somewhere on some of my social media, on my LinkedIn, my Mac Story LinkedIn page. I have a Blue Collar Leadership LinkedIn page. I've got the same, got 2 different Facebook profiles, Instagram, X. Can't even remember them all. TikTok. I ain't got stupid stuff on TikTok. I got leadership clips and videos. I share them all over all my social media. So that's some more free stuff. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you know anybody who's moaning, groaning, whining about the labor shortage, please share this episode with them. It may not help them, because I'm going to tell you this. There's some people out there that if they don't know, you can't tell them. All right? Talk to you next time.
Make it happen, or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.